Hey guys, thanks for joining me. It's Brian. Really excited to kick things off today, and I want to get things started by talking about mindset. I think it's really important for us to have a good foundation in looking at things from the right perspective, thinking of things in with the right way and the right frame of mind to be successful. So let's go ahead and get to it. We're going to talk about mindset today, and then in our next video, we'll get into talking about some ways that you can start creating extra income. But of course, none of that matters if we don't have the right mindset to stick to the plan. All right, so let's go ahead and have a look here. Before I jump into anything, I do always want to put up a quick disclaimer. Really doing this just to get into the habit of doing it. What we're talking about today doesn't have anything to do with investment advice. It doesn't have anything to do with trading futures or currencies or cryptocurrencies or options or anything of that nature. But we will get to that over time. So just want to put up a disclaimer. I guess if I was going to have a disclaimer, it would be just to simply let you know that I'm not a, quote, mindset coach professionally. I'm just talking about the things that I do to help put myself in and keep myself in that right mindset that helps you maintain a positive and motivated attitude, right? So I'm going to share with you some of my thoughts about it, and then we can go from there. So why are we talking about mindset in the first place? Well, I feel like it's the best place to start, again, because we do need that foundation. We need a foundation that's based on a growth mentality, because our mindset is at the root of our decision-making process. So we've got to be in that right frame of mind to want to grow and want to move forward. Unfortunately, a lot of folks don't really necessarily want to accept the fact that they are where they are because of themselves. Now, I know you're going to go, well, Brian, circumstantial things occur, environmental things occur, so on and so forth. Yeah, of course. There's always stuff that's outside of our control. There always will be. How we choose to deal with that stimuli that's outside of our control comes back to our mindset. And we can either choose to, place blame all over the place, or we can choose to internalize some of those things and find solutions and find ways outside or to move beyond that current path. Whenever I start talking about mindset, it's always a groaner. I don't want to talk about mindset. But I think it's because it's uncomfortable. Folks don't want to talk about mindset because it means if we're going to have to start doing some honest personal reflection, and we're going to have to start accepting responsibility for our actions and our outcomes. If we're not willing to do that, we're not going to get far. Yeah, I'm pausing for dramatic effect. We're not going to get far without it. And I know it sounds harsh. I know it does. But I think in order for us to get started, in order for us to start moving down this pathway together, where I'm going to share the things that I've been doing over time that allow me to generate cash flow from my home or from my laptop, we have to have the right frame of mind to do it. We have to be prepared to step out of that current rut that we're in. It's super easy. I'm not saying your job's easy, but I'm saying it's super easy to have a job, have something we go to, whether we like it or hate it. It's easy because it's a known thing. And in order to get outside of that state of mind of doing that known thing and learning new things, adding to our plate of responsibilities, we've got to sometimes get a quick smack in the face to wake us up and say, hey, we need to do something different than we're currently doing in order to have different results. And part of that, all of that really, comes back to having the right mindset. It's up to us to take the action, right? It's up to you to learn and to seek knowledge. It's up to you to become your best self. It's not my responsibility. It's not anyone else's responsibility to do it for you. We can show you the things that work. We can show you the things that we do, but it's up to you to take action. I'm going to teach you over the next few weeks and months about all the things that I do to generate cash flow. I'm going to teach you about new stuff that I'm learning about and new ways to add cash flow. I'm a simple guy. everything I talk about is going to be the simple stuff that works. Are there more complicated ways to do them? Yeah, of course. I'm going to talk to you about the simple, basic stuff that works. But it only works if you take action. So I know you're all going to be ready. I know you're all going to take massive action when we start talking about these processes that we can put in place to allow us to make money from our laptops or make money from home. So let's talk for a minute about mindset. What mindset is a set of assumptions. It's a set of assumptions, notions, preconceptions about the world, about money, about business. Ultimately, our thoughts are what lead our bodies. Our minds, our thoughts, they're driven by our learned preconceptions about what it takes to be successful, about what it takes to lose weight, about what it takes to have a happy, healthy relationship, what it takes to start a business, what it takes to grow wealth, what it takes to retain wealth. All of these things, we have certain ways that we look at these. We have certain views about what it means to be an entrepreneur. We have certain views about what it means to be rich. We have certain definitions of what these things are and how they work and how we can attain these certain goals or these certain levels of status, if you want to call it that, in the world. It's all about these preconceptions, and our minds are what lead us to that. Our thoughts are what lead us to a way that we can take action to attain these goals, or try it for a minute, say it's not attainable because of our preconceptions, and just abandon it. Almost every article I've ever read on wealth building starts out with something along the lines of, successful people think differently. Always starts out with that. And it's true. One thing that the trading business has taught me over the years, probably the most important lesson I think, is the importance of developing the right mindset. If you just drill it down to the basics of accepting ownership, doing some self-reflection and being patient, if you just drill it down to those things, it'll take you a long, long way. But mindset is an amazing thing. Having the right mindset, having that growth mindset, allows us to develop a healthy self-esteem. Number one, if we're going to accomplish something, we have to actually believe that we can accomplish it. So, coming back to preconceptions, our parents, their parents, their parents' parents, have taught us things about what it means to have money, or what it means to attain money, or what it means to be self-employed, or what it means to do X, Y, or Z. Through that learned preconception, we might believe that we can do something, or we might believe that we absolutely can't do it. When I first started trading, I had a friend that says, "Oh, I tried that; it doesn't work. You can't make money trading." Well, that's his perception. But obviously, there are millions of people every day that do. Having the right mindset allows us to formulate that winning perspective. How do we look at things? Do we look at things as the glass is half full or the glass is half empty? What's that self-dialogue that we're having? What are we reinforcing on a daily basis as we look at things and we react in a certain way to that stimuli that's been presented to us? Having the right mindset allows us to harness our drive. That's the thing that's going to allow us to push forward, push through our comfort zone. Successful people do not waste time complaining about their circumstances. We all have things that are out of our control that happen to us every day of the week, at any point in the day. There's stuff that we simply cannot control. We can either complain about it, or we can choose to find a way to improve that condition, whatever it might be. We can work with conviction to move beyond it. Having the right mindset allows us to face adversity. Again, we're all going to go through rough patches. That's just a fact of life. For every high, there's going to be a low. How low it is depends on your perspective and your preconception about how you're allowing those challenges to affect you. right? If you want to get through those rough patches, you've got to develop some thick skin and learn how to face that challenge head on. So that's why I feel like it's so important to develop a way to keep yourself in a positive mindset and keep yourself motivated. I mean, so you're going to have down days, and that's again, we're human. We're not robots. I'm not saying put on a happy face and just always be happy, but I am saying learn the skills to be able to recognize when something is pulling you down and have some tools in your toolbox that allow you to pull yourself out of that funk and get back on track so that you're heading back towards your goal as opposed to just being simply a victim of circumstance, right? I love this quote. Happiness of your life depends on the quality of your thoughts. It's absolutely so darn true. So let's talk about how to create that positive mindset. Just another quick sidebar, another quick story. We had been living out of the country for about a year, and in 2011, my dad was diagnosed with cancer, and we came back to the States. And shortly after he died, we were trying to figure out what was going on, and I really, it took a toll on me on my mindset, really, because for the first time in my life, there was like this finality. There was this end out there. And all of a sudden I felt this, for lack of a better term, scarcity, I want to say. For the first time ever, I started questioning a lot of what ifs. What if something doesn't work? I had never up to that point in my life ever considered that something may not work out. I always just pressed on, right? After he died, I started having these thoughts of, what if things don't work? What if I can't make money online? What if? And I actually applied for a job. And I'm not embarrassed to say that. I did. I interviewed for a job, reached out to a buddy of mine that was back in Las Vegas and said, hey, I'm thinking about re-entering the work world, which was kind of a shock to me to even hear myself utter those words. And I'd been out of the corporate environment for probably about 6 years at that point. I had not kept up with any skill sets. I really wasn't qualified for the job I was interviewing for. And he actually said to me, he goes, well, what if you don't get this job? And that kind of took me back because it was the first time ever. I'm like, what do you mean, what if? I always get the jobs I apply for. Obviously, I haven't always, but, that's just my mindset, right? And then it kind of started sinking in. Well, holy crap. Well, ultimately, I didn't get that job, which was a great thing because it forced me to go back and deep dive into why am I feeling the way that I'm feeling, and what can I do about it? And the steps that I took to pull myself out of that, for lack of a better term, funk, are the same ones I'm going to share with you here. So let's go ahead and get to it. First thing is you've got to have a very specific why for what you're doing. That's where I start. Why? Why? Well, why do you want to make money online? And it's not just to make money. Your why has got to be way bigger than that. Why is it? Well, for me, it was because I want to travel and I want to spend as much time as possible with my son. I want to make sure that my son has a dad that's always present, that we're able to do things together. We're able to have those great father-son moments. I'm not missing, school plays. I'm not missing recitals. I'm not missing swim class. I'm not missing swim meets. I'm not missing anything because I have freedom of time and freedom of location. And I don't have to be anywhere that I don't want to be. I choose to be with my family. So that's my why. And your why may be something totally different, but you've got to develop that why. If your why is not big enough, as this quote says, your excuses will be. So if your why isn't big enough, you're always going to find a reason for why it's okay to stop and not keep pursuing that goal. So step one, define that why. The next thing is developing some positive daily habits. And for me, there's some great positive habits out there with journaling and exercise. I feel like it's really important to move. If you move your body and exercise a bit, even if it's only a short period a day, you're going to feel better. And when you feel better, your mind's going to operate better. And when your mind operates better, obviously, you're able to be happier, and it takes less effort to keep yourself in that positive mental state and fight off those demons, fight off those things that are in the background trying to pull you back, right? Journaling is a really, really good exercise for this, and it doesn't have to take a whole lot of time. Tim Ferriss actually has in his book, well, there's a couple different ones, but he talks about a real quick one in his book, Tools for Titans. Actually, he talks about a 5-minute journaling exercise, and it's where you answer a couple of questions in the morning about what you're thankful for. So you start the day with gratitude. List a couple of things that you'd like to accomplish for the day, that if you accomplish those things, you'd feel good. And then at the end of the day, you come back and you review some things that went right and some things that were challenges that you could maybe do differently. It's a great journaling process, and it doesn't take a whole lot of time, but you'll find in doing that you're setting some really good intentions for the day, and you're choosing to look at things in a way at the end when you reflect on it that allow you to continue to grow. Because reflection, we've got to have good, honest reflections on the day as well in order to know where we can continue to improve, right? So step 2, journaling, and I feel like exercise comes along with that, as having a positive daily habit. We've got to have some really good positive habits. Next, after that, my 3rd step is accepting ownership. We have to be accountable, and we've got to hold ourselves accountable. We can't come back to or be comfortable with just simply saying, well, this happened to me, and therefore I'm just going to stop. It's not okay. Yes, okay. So something happened to you. Why did it happen to you? What was your role in that? What could you have done differently? How could you make it better? It's up to you. It's up to me. It's up to us to improve ourselves. So we're the ones that are accountable. We are accountable for our actions. We're accountable for how we choose to look at things, through the day, and at each circumstance. We're accountable for what's happened there and how we choose to react to it. So accepting ownership, being accountable. The next thing that really helps me, and this is especially true in trading, is working on something new every day to improve ourselves and focusing on growth over speed. What I mean by that is we live in a time when things happen instantly. I mean, we can order something on Amazon this morning and it shows up on our doorstep in the afternoon. We place a call to someone and they answer it because their phone's in their pocket. We don't have to necessarily leave a message and wait a day or two to hear back from that person. Everything happens immediately. We can text someone right now. If we're having a conversation about, music, and we're trying to figure out the words to that, that song, I'm just saying that song, who knows which one, I pick one, that we've been debating what the actual words are. At the fingertips, we can hit, our browser and quickly Google the lyrics of the song and know it instantly. There's no wait almost for anything. I mean, your internet slows down from 100 megs per second to 20 megs per second, and it's like the end of the world, right? So we're used to this super speedy society, and as a result, everyone, I'm lumping things in together. I shouldn't make these big group assumptions like this, but many people get focused on wanting the end result before they do the work. And coming back to this, I see it a lot, because I'm probably going to relate a lot of things back to trading, because that's been my main wheelhouse for so many years. But, I see it all the time in trading when we're coaching people or talking to folks or, talking about different trading systems or different trading methods. It's always just, yeah. Tell me how to get X percent per day. Well, there's some growth that comes into that. If we focus on growth over speed, we're reading, we're learning, we're getting coaching, we're doing exercises that allow us to improve and grow, which ultimately lead to that end result. but it's not going to happen immediately. I mean, imagine the absurdity of, I don't think anyone would say, I'm going to go to college to pursue an MD, and day one, week one, they're allowed to practice medicine. That doesn't happen. We've got to learn it before we can practice it, before we can actually implement it. So favoring growth over speed allows us to take some joy in learning, and joy in figuring out new processes and learning new approaches and learning new ways to get to that end goal, and being comfortable with the fact that it's going to take some time to get there. The next thing is celebrating the process over the outcome. And this kind of comes back, it goes hand in hand with growth over speed. Again, very favorable when it comes to trading, but I think this applies to everything in life. We've got to really focus on the processes. If we focus on the process, the outcome is going to take care of itself. If we just simply work the plan. I had a mentor back when I worked in corporate America. He used to always say, Brian, got to focus on blocking and tackling. Blocking and tackling. What does that mean? So if you're blocking and tackling, you're playing the fundamentals of the game. You're focusing on the things that you can control. I'd say control, but you can control. It's simple. You're working the fundamentals of the game. And if you're really good at blocking and tackling, the outcome is going to take care of itself, right? So focus on those fundamentals. Focus on that process, and the outcome is going to follow along behind it. So that's another thing that really helps me get in the right mindset, is I'm not worried about what's going to happen. I'm worried about the things that I can control now, and that's working my process. And then finally, and this was a really hard one for me to learn, but the more I learned it and accepted it, the better I've felt. And this is a biggie. Don't measure your progress using someone else's ruler. Don't measure your successes by someone else's definition of success, right? Your goals are your goals. You do you. Don't worry about what anybody else is doing. You do the things, work towards the goals that are going to make you happy. Early on, when I had started, getting into the trading education business, I was at a Kinko's just off the strip in Las Vegas. And I was making some copies before a big group presentation that we were about to hold. We're doing a weekend group training on options trading. And I was making some copies, and the guy's looking at my stuff, and he goes, "Hey, what do you do?" And I go, "I'm a trader." And he looks outside and he goes, "Well, if you're a trader, where's your Lamborghini?" And for a minute I was like, "What? Do I need to have a Lamborghini?" And you see that so often. In all the ads, people are in their private jets, they're in the Lamborghinis, they're in these giant houses, blah, 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 blah. I'm not going to use the word I was about to say, but so much of it's just utter BS. It's all for show, because that's the definition of success that people have dreamt up, that they feel like in order to have success, you have to show all of these things: the fancy cars, the big houses, the private jets, the yachts, the vacations, and blah, blah, blah. But that isn't necessarily success for a lot of people. Success to you might just simply be generating an extra couple $100 a month. Success could be something as simple as just simply having a few extra hours a day to spend with your kids, your grandkids. Success for me has been having time freedom and location freedom, and not having to be anywhere I don't want to be. I don't have a giant house. I don't have a Lamborghini. I've never flown on a private plane. I don't think I'd waste the money on it. You can get business class or first class for a fraction of the cost and be just as comfortable. So why, so anyway, don't measure your success by anyone else. Don't measure your progress using someone else's ruler. There's always going to be somebody bigger, faster, stronger, richer, handsomer, more charismatic. You do you. The more you can do you, the better you're going to feel, and the more you'll be able to stay on track with celebrating the process versus the outcome. The better you'll be able to stay on track with being okay with growth over speed. The better you'll be at accepting ownership of how you choose to react to certain stimuli through the day. The better you'll be at giving thanks in the morning and setting that gratitude for the day and that intention for the day, and doing some truly honest and positive reflection about how you can make changes to get closer to your goal. And finally, the better you'll be at sticking to and believing in that big why that you defined in step one. So it all comes around as a circle, right? So those are my thoughts on mindset. I hope you took some notes. I hope that some of this resonates with you. It is truly the most powerful thing that you're going to learn when it comes down, or you're really the most powerful tool, I guess I would say, in your toolbox when it comes to learning the things that we're going to learn over the next few weeks and the next few months of learning to make money from home, make money from our laptop, make money with our skills and our marketable talents that we all have, right? So that's my thought on mindset. Next time we get together, so probably the next another day or two, and we'll talk about ways to generate new money. Because obviously, as I mentioned before, our goal with what I'm going to be doing over the next few weeks and few months is to teach you all the things that I do to generate cash flow. It all begins with creating new money for ourselves, because right now you are where you are, and sometimes it's tough. A lot of the things that I do are in the investment world. So whether that's looking at trades in the forex market, doing stuff in crypto, which I've been very involved in here recently, absolutely loving the crypto markets. So trading forex, trading crypto, we might be looking at options trading or futures trading. All those things take disposable income, disposable cash, and if you don't have it, we have to find a way to get it first. So we're going to begin with looking at ways that you can create some new revenue streams for yourself. So we'll do that in the next class. Again, I don't think anything I'm going to tell you is earth-shattering, but it hopefully will inspire you to look at things in a different way and look at the talents that you currently have that'll allow you to develop some opportunities to create additional cash flow. So that'll be the next time we get together. Thank you so much for tuning in. If you like what I've talked about today, please share it with your friends, share it with your family. Let them know what we're doing here. We're trying to build a community, and I'm trying to provide you with the tools, the techniques, the processes that have worked for me since 2005, and also talk about new things that I'll be testing out and showing that hopefully will provide some income for you as well. All right, so that's it for now. Thank you so much for joining me. Have a great day. Bye.